Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the League One Transfer Roundup. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 120 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What do you believe has been the best piece of business completed over the last 7 days? And how would you assess your club's League One transfer window so far? Now obviously the season did kick off on Saturday, and over the next couple of weeks or so, teams will be starting to really identify where the strengths and weaknesses are in their side and what further additions do still need to be made, but there was still a fair decent bit of business that was completed over the last week or so. So we'll start firstly then with AFC Wimbledon, who completed the permanent signing of Antoine Hackford. He is a 21-year-old striker. He's come in on a free transfer from Sheffield United's under-21s. I'm pretty sure he spent last season on loan with Port Vale, and while at times did play a bit more of a bit part role, scored some quite important goals at times, scored a great goal on Boxing Day at Valley Parade to equalise in that one. Obviously we did still manage to get the win, did Bradford City, but I think that's an okay option for Wimbledon to have. It's just a different option, a different type of striker for them to have at the top end of the pitch. Not the worst one in the world, but certainly not the best signing. They also completed the signing of 29-year-old striker Danilo Orsi. He's come in on an undisclosed fee from Burton Albion. Obviously spent the second half of last season on loan with MK Dons following his big money move to the Brewers last summer. His only real successful spell as a footballer was in the 23-24 campaign, where he scored a decent amount of goals under Scott Lindsay at Crawley in League 2. Before that was at Grimsby and didn't really work out, and I'm just not entirely convinced by that signing. Now at 29 years of age, he is into his prime years as a striker, but I'm not sure that relying on the likes of Danilo Orsi and Antoine Hackford are really going to keep in the division. Obviously Wimbledon lost their opening game 1-0, failed to score. Yes, it was away at Luton and you maybe wouldn't expect them to, but they created very little. They didn't really have much goal threat, and I don't think the signings of Hackford and Orsi, while they're not awful additions, I don't think they're really going to rectify it all too much. There hasn't been any further transfer departures out of Wimbledon, so we'll move on then to Barnsley FC, who completed the signing of midfielder Patrick Kelly. He is now 20 years of age and he's come in on an undisclosed fee from West Ham's under-21s. Obviously spent time last season on loan with Doncaster Rovers and came really good towards the back end of the campaign, but he switched Doncaster's South Yorkshire to Barnsley's South Yorkshire as well, so clearly wanting to keep it very local. There hasn't been any further incomings at Barnsley, but I still do believe there'll be a couple of defenders, maybe another striker to come in through the door for them. And in terms of departures out of Barnsley, I don't think anything further has been confirmed on that point of view. In terms of Blackpool, they have brought in a 27-year-old left winger Emil Hansen. He's come in on a loan transfer from Birmingham City. They've already completed the loan signing of Bailey Peacock Farrell from the Blues, but Hansen is a player that I can't really say I know all too much about, if we are being completely honest. But obviously Blackpool, I mean, judging by their opening day result, they need to cut out the mistakes before trying to sign more players. But yeah, I don't really know too much about him, so I can't really comment. There hasn't been any further departures out of the Seasiders, so we'll move on then to Bolton Wanderers, who I don't believe have signed anybody else. I'm pretty sure we've already covered all of their transfer business. Obviously lost 2-0 on the opening game week away at Stockport and really did struggle to have that clinical nature at the top end of the pitch. I think they need a real proven goal scorer to come in through the door. And there has been a departure out of Bolton. Clary Lawlers has joined a fellow League One side for an undisclosed fee, so we'll come on to that later on in today's video. In terms of my team at Bradford City, we haven't brought anybody else in through the door. We've not seen a single proper transfer departure in this window so far, apart from players who were released at the end of their contracts. There's a fair few, well I say a fair few, there's maybe 3 or 4 that are still on the books that we are definitely looking to sell in this summer transfer window, maybe get a loan out as well, but nothing is imminent as of right now. In terms of Burton Albion, they brought in 25-year-old winger Tyrese Shade. He's come in on an undisclosed fee from Eastleigh. I think that is a club record sale for the non-league side, and I'm pretty sure it's the same Tyrese Shade who has spent time at Swindon and he didn't look particularly great there, but he's made a step down into non-league, proved himself there. I think got over 20 goal contributions last season, and will now be looking to make the step up into League One with Burton. Obviously won on the opening day at home to Mansfield. Great start to the season for them, and they'll be hoping that that signing is another one that does come off for them. In terms of transfers out of Burton, obviously they sold Danilo Orsi to AFC Wimbledon, but I don't think anything else has been confirmed. There has been a couple of loan departures. Thomas Kalin Ayuskas, a 25-year-old I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Lithuanian left winger, has joined Kalmar FF over in Sweden on loan, and 23-year-old striker Jack Cooper-Love has joined Roda JC over in the Netherlands on a loan transfer as well. So a couple of loan departures out of Burton over the last week or so, and obviously going over to fellow European clubs. In terms of Cardiff City, again, there's been nothing further that has come in through the door, nothing at all, not a single signing, but to be fair, didn't look awful on the opening day, but I still definitely do believe there needs to be a few people coming in through the door in a couple of positions, because they're lacking a little bit of experience in that side. And we did see Keon Atete, 23-year-old striker, join a fellow League One side, so there has been another departure out of the Bluebirds. Is that the correct nickname for the Cardiff? Let me know in the comments down below. Doncaster Rovers haven't brought anybody else in through the door, and I don't think we've seen anything in terms of the departures front either. So we'll move on then to Exeter City, who brought in Jake Doyle-Hayes, a 26-year-old central midfielder from Sligo Rovers. He's come in on an undisclosed fee. Is that the same Doyle-Hayes that was at Cheltenham like 5 years ago, or have I just completely made that up? Let me know down below, because if that is the same one, that's a great signing. If it's not, then I don't know anything about it. Jack Bycroft is a 23-year-old goalkeeper who was joined on a free transfer from Swindon. I assume he will just be the backup to Joe Whitworth this season, but obviously Exeter got off to a pretty poor start to the campaign, losing to a recently promoted side, and I don't believe there's been any further departures either. In terms of Huddersfield Town, they brought in 19-year-old attacking midfielder Leo Casteldine. He's come in on a loan transfer from Chelsea's under-21s. I'm pretty sure he spent time on loan with Shrewsbury Town last campaign, and obviously Huddersfield have recruited very well so far, but I'm not entirely sure by that sign, and I assume he will just come in and be a bit of a squad player, play his part every now and again, but I don't see him having much of a major impact this season, especially given the attacking options that Huddersfield already have in their ranks, especially their striker options, having the likes of Joe Taylor, Alfie May, Dion Charles. I'm sure I'm missing one or two in there as well. They've got some serious firepower at the top end of the pitch. In terms of departures out of Huddersfield, we haven't seen anything further from that point of view, so we'll move on then to Leyton Orient, who have brought in 22-year-old attacking midfielder Joe White. He's come in on loan from Newcastle. I think spent time last season on loan with MK Dons, and he's that sort of profile that Leyton Orient do try and recruit, and I think that could prove to be a smart addition. And they also brought in 19-year-old central midfielder Jack Morehouse. He's come in on a loan transfer from Manchester United's under-21s. Don't really know too much about him, if I am being completely honest, but I'm pretty sure he always gets released in your first season of Football Manager 24, and he's a decent pickup for a lot of non-league sides. That's all the information that I can really give you. Obviously, they are bottom of the table at the moment at Orient, but I definitely wouldn't expect them to finish there come the end of the campaign. There has been a couple of departures out of Orient as well. Lewis Warrington is a 22-year-old central midfielder. He's joined Walsall for an undisclosed fee. I feel like that one just does make sense, really. If they're bringing in a couple midfielders, then they obviously need to get some out the door as well, but I would expect still there to be a little bit more transfer business to happen from a Leyton Orient perspective. In terms of Lincoln City, still no further incomings, and I don't believe there's been any outgoings either. They've only brought in the two players in this transfer window, and they've let a fair few go on free transfers. There's obviously been a loan departure. They sold Ethan Erhahon as well to Bolton Wanderers, so I would expect more incomings from a Lincoln City point of view, despite obviously getting off to a great start to the season with a 2-0 win at home to Reading. In terms of Luton Town, they have been very busy in this transfer window so far, and they did make a couple more additions over the last week. Firstly, 29-year-old left-back Cohen Bramwell. He has joined on a free transfer from Portsmouth, has plenty of League One and Championship experience, and I think that's a great addition for them at just 29, now in his prime years. That is a great signing. And they also brought in a 28-year-old striker Jerry Yates. He's come in on an undisclosed fee from Swansea. I think that is an absolutely exceptional signing personally. I thought he was going to stay in the Championship. He obviously probably had options to stay there, but you look at some of the attacking options that Luton have got, the likes of Naki Wells, the likes of Jerry Yates. If they don't win the title this season, they've surely got to finish in that top two. They've recruited very well in this transfer window. And in terms of departures out of Luton, I don't believe there has been anything apart from ALFIE Doughty, a 25-year-old left wing back. Is kind of his position, can play left midfield or left back as well. He has joined Millwall for an undisclosed fee. That's believed to be quite a significant undisclosed fee as well. So they've had a lot of money coming through the door in terms of transfer fees, but they've also not been shy of spending it either. They have spent a couple million on transfer fees, so fair play to Luton. They've got in a lot of money, and they've still got a very, very good League One side. Mansfield Town haven't done any further transfer business, but we might see that potentially change. I think they need to bring in another striker before the transfer window does officially close, but we haven't seen any further departures out of the Stags. In terms of Northampton Town, they brought in 19-year-old striker Ethan Wheatley. He's coming on loan from Manchester United. Couldn't even get on the bench at struggling Walsall last campaign, so I've no idea how he's got the move up to League One. I'm really concerned about Northampton this season. No doubt they'll probably beat us 2-0 on Saturday, and Ethan Wheatley will score both of their goals, but some of their recruitment for me just does not make sense. They've made some good additions, but just not enough, and I think they will definitely be getting relegated this season. They were awful on the opening day against Wigan. In terms of departures out of the Cobblers, we've not seen anything further from that point of view, so we'll move on then to Peterborough United. They are the destination of 24-year-old attacking midfielder Clady Lolos. He's come in on an undisclosed fee from Bolton Wanderers. Obviously got his move to the Whites following a great spell with Crawley Town, but didn't really work out for him last campaign, and I think probably is a move that does make sense. I could certainly see him doing very well with the Posh this season. And they also brought in Vicente Reyes. He's come in on loan from Norwich City until January. Obviously Alex Bass has picked up a pretty long-term injury. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, so they needed some more cover in that position. Reyes has come in and was the backup on Saturday, but I guess him and is it Bilo Kapic or something like that, I think them two will be competing for the number 1 spot over the next coming weeks until Alex Bass does return. There hasn't been any further transfer departures out of Peterborough, so we'll move on then to Plymouth Argyle, who were awful on Saturday, lost 3-1 at home to 10-man Barnsley. They need to have some further transfer business before the window does officially slam shut. They've brought in a 24-year-old goalkeeper, Luca Ashby-Hammond. He's come in on a free transfer from Fulham's under-21s. I don't think we've previously mentioned that one, but they need to get 2, maybe 3 strikers in through the door. They need some more options at the top end of the pitch. You cannot be starting with Caleb Watts up top for the rest of the campaign. Although he did quite well there, they need a couple of natural goal-scoring strikers. Obviously, they've got Arabin Peppel, but he didn't play on Saturday. I can only assume that he was injured. There hasn't been any further transfer departures out of Plymouth over the last week, so we'll move on then to Port Vale, who obviously lost on the opening day away at Rotherham. They got quite an early red card through Jaheim Headley, but they haven't done any further transfer business, whether incomings or outgoings either. In terms of Reading, I don't believe they've done any further transfer business either. Certainly not in terms of incomings, but they did see the departure of 26-year-old attacking midfielder Harvey Nibbs. He's joined Charlton Athletic for around £2 million. Again, Charlton splashing the cash in the Championship this summer, but Nibbs, good player for Reading. I think he will be a bit of a blow, and it'll be interesting to see how the Royals do go about trying to replace him. So we'll move on then to Rotherham United, who I don't think have done any further transfer business. They've brought in RJ Martha, but I'm not 100% sure if we have previously mentioned that. He is a 21-year-old left-back who's joined on an undisclosed fee from Beerschot VA over in Belgium. They've done a little bit of recruitment from foreign leagues. Obviously, they've brought in Agbear from Celtic, they've brought Hall in from Herenveen, they've brought Martha in from Beerschot VA as well. So interesting to see Rotherham now going down that path with their oldest signing being just at 25 years of age this summer. They are the destination, though, of 23-year-old striker Keanu Tete. He has joined on loan from Cardiff City. I feel like the Millers needed a bit more firepower at the top end of the pitch. They can't really be relying on John Hugel. Sam Nombe is a great striker for this level, but he's the only player in that team that I really do see scoring goals. Tete, I think, did very well with Cheltenham a couple of seasons ago, but has since had obviously spells with Cardiff, might have had a loan spell with Bolton as well, and didn't particularly impress there. So it'll be interesting to see how he does get on at Rotherham, because he is still only 23 years of age. There hasn't been any further departures out of Rotherham, so we'll move on then to Stevenage FC, who have brought in 22-year-old goalkeeper Philip Marshall. He's coming on an undisclosed fee from Aston Villa. I think has previously spent time on loan with MK Dons and Crewe Alexandra as well. Now making a step up to Stevenage. Has largely played in possession-based sides so far, so Stevenage being a little bit more direct. It'll be interesting to see how he does get on. I'm not 100% sure if he played on Saturday, but obviously Stevenage won away at Blackpool 3-2 in that one. There hasn't hasn't been any major transfer departures out of Stevenage, but they did see 26-year-old striker Louis Perry join League Two side Cambridge for an undisclosed fee. He obviously moved from Northampton to the Borough last summer, and it's a move that didn't really work out, so selling him just did make sense. Stockport County brought in 34-year-old left-back Danny Andrew. He's come in on a 1-month contract on a free transfer from Cambridge, got an assist on debut as well, great free kick into the box and a well-converted header from Kyle Wotton. They also brought in 19-year-old striker Nathan Lowe. He's come in on loan from Stoke City, obviously did wonderful things last campaign in the first half of the season with League Two side Walsall, scored a boatload of goals and was a big part of why they were 12 or 13 points clear. Then he got recalled. Bradford City destroyed Walsall at Valley Parade and they never recovered after that. They also brought in a 22-year-old left back Owen Dodgson. He's come in on a loan transfer from Burnley. I think again a smart pickup for them because I'm pretty sure Teo Eden has picked up a pretty significant injury, unfortunately. There hasn't been any further transfer departures out of Stockport County, so we'll move on then to Wigan Athletic, who've brought in a 31-year-old left back Morgan Fox. He's come in on a free transfer from QPR. A nice, smart, solid defensive signing for Wigan, who have obviously started out the campaign very well, beating Northampton at 3-1 at home, and it could have been 7 or 8. They created a load of chances in that one. They've also brought in Isaac Mabea, a 20-year-old right back. He's come in on a loan transfer from Liverpool's under-21s, and Ryan Trevitt is a 22-year-old central midfielder. He's come in on loan from Brentford. I'm not so sure if we've previously mentioned them, but they're in a different sort of category for some reason. You've got Paul Mullin and Callum Wright, then it's a load of their under-21 players being promoted into the first team, and then it's just Mabea and Trevitt at the bottom, so apologies if that is a bit of a repeat, but there hasn't been any further transfer departures out of Wigan. In terms of Wickham, moving swiftly on to them, they've brought in Stuart Moore, a 30-year-old goalkeeper from Morecambe on a free transfer. I can only assume he's going to be third choice this season behind, obviously, Van Sass, who started on Saturday, and they've also got Norris, who was at Portsmouth last season as well. I don't think they've brought anybody else in through the door, and in terms of transfer departures out, I don't think we've seen anything of too much significance. Obviously, Wickham were beaten on the opening day by Bradford and looked awful in that first half, so it'll be interesting to see if they do bring anybody else in through the door, because they've already made pushing double figures, maybe 10 signings so far in this window, and obviously they've spent money on 5 or 6 of them as well. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 120 likes as I mentioned at the start of today's video, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What do you believe has been the best signing completed over the last 7 days? For me personally, I'm going to give it to Stockport County for the addition of Nathan Lowe. I think he's going to absolutely smash it this season with the Hatters. And don't forget to let me know as well, how would you assess your club's transfer business so far? What further deals do you think your club need to do, whether incomings or outgoings? Thank you all for watching. Check out yesterday's Game Week 1 League 1 Roundup as well if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.